Hello and welcome to Kanima's Be Well platform. My name is Stacy Kennedy. I'm a registered dietitian and licensed nutritionist. Wishing you a very happy new year. It's wonderful to be joining you at the start of 2024, and health and wellness is generally top of mind, especially this time of year. So today we're going to spend some time looking at how you can make 2024 a year that's all about sticking to those healthy habits and reaching the goals that you are working towards. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we will be kicking this off. Now, of course, you can't ask me questions live because this is a recording, but I am more than happy to engage and connect. So feel free to connect with your Kanima instructor or leave a comment on the platform. And that's also a great way for us to learn about other topics that you would like to know about in the nutrition world. So here we are, turning over a new chapter, looking for a new year, better you. So let's focus on meaningful changes that are personal to you. You know, all of the noise about, joining the gym and only eating green vegetables or going on a detox plan, all those things that flood our inbox and our social media feed really can kind of get us far away from that like heart-centered path towards your own personal goal. So how do you go about determining your goal, and not so much like it might be like a broader goal, right? You might want to build muscle, you might want to lose weight, you might want to boost energy, reduce inflammation, might be more specific, lower cholesterol, be able to run up and down the stairs with your little kid, whatever it is. But I think when we think about the goal, that's sort of this overall thing that you want to achieve. But really what's important is the path of how you get there. And so let's focus on how do we make the process of getting to your goal effective, enjoyable, and healthy. So these are some ways to start to define what those high-level goals are. And as I mentioned, they might be about weight loss. They may have nothing to do with your weight. It may have nothing to do with diets. That would be great. It might be around having a new mindset of how you approach your healthy eating, or you might want to have less aches and pains. You might want to be a little bit more like cognitively sharp, or a little more efficient at work. You might want to just simply, not simply, but like broadly focus on your self-care. So these are just a few ideas. That your goals might be financial, whatever area your goal lives in. Having a strong nutritional foundation will help you to achieve that in a more successful way that's sustainable, which I know we all know. So we're going to work on how to actually do it. So a goal without a plan is simply a wish, and that really is true. And so wishing is wonderful, but we're here to help create some concrete plans and move you forward on that path. So simple steps are what are going to bring you that road to success for a healthier life. And the simplicity is key. All the things we've said so far are not simple or concrete enough. We got to like go way down into the weeds in order to make this work. And often it's not what you're eating. It might be when you're eating. It might be a combination of the food you're eating like together in the sense of like their overall balance, let's say with regard to like sugar and protein or fiber. But a lot of times, people will come to me and they're eating a very healthy diet, plant forward, Mediterranean, lean proteins, but not reaching their goals. And sometimes it isn't like you need to eat more of X, Y, and Z. It's the organization of it. Or maybe it's the logistics, right? Like you might be very busy. And so all the intentions are there, the palette is there, the resources are there, but on many days it isn't being implemented. And so we got to solve for that, right? So is it lunch? that's your pain point. So we're going to go on into this, but where we want to end up at the end of today is very, very specific and concrete that map to that broader goal. So if you don't know your broader goal, use this time to dream and wish about what are those things that you would like to achieve in your life this year. And then if you know what that is already, focus in this granular space, okay? So the other way of talking about those real concrete goals are SMART goals. And I know you're working on this, I'm sure, in your physical fitness. This is something that, you know, your personal trainer, your group exercise instructor is going to talk to you about as well, your health coach. But it's an acronym. The goals, the path to get to your goals, right? These have to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And realistic I like to kind of call that one out. Well, also, I like to call out the achievable, attainable one, right? But realistic is very important. So if you're working full time, you're caring for your family, is it really realistic to cook 3 meals a day for everyone in your house from scratch? It might be. The answer might be yes. Great. But you want to take an honest look. And if the answer is no, that's okay. That doesn't mean you're giving up on some of these health and wellness goals. We just need a different solution to get there. Is it achievable? So if you are wanting to lose weight and you're Googling, what weight should I be? Or Stacy, what should I weigh? I guess a question I get a lot. Or, what is a healthy BMI for my height, right? That is not going to tell you what is achievable for you. So if you're someone who has struggled with weight for many, many years or your entire life, and your lowest adult healthy weight is still 10, 15, 20, whatever pounds above those Google shoulds, then the Google shoulds are not achievable, nor would that be recommended or healthy for your body. So that's just one example. I certainly don't want to make this conversation all about weight by any stretch. Achievable might be you only want to eat local produce. Again, admirable, love it. You might live in California and that might be possible for you. But I'm in New England, and yes, I can eat an awful lot, like in the winter, butternut squash and kale and cabbage and all kinds of things like that, for sure. But I might want to put strawberries in my smoothie. So I might buy frozen strawberries because that is going to be fresher than fresh, for this time of year. But my point is more of the achievable part, right? So let's also factor in your everyday life so that you're not setting yourself up for failure because your goals are lofty or they're driven by what you saw on social media or what your neighbor says they're doing. Think about you and your path and yourself. So ignore the influencer. It goes right along with what we're talking about. Really disconnecting from social media or, from like Googling things really is helpful, very helpful, because you want to talk to an expert. If you want more clarity on your individual personal path to these goals, then you want to connect with an expert. And influencers can be experts, but when we say that word, we tend to meet people who aren't. But also, it's not about whether someone's an expert or not. It's like, are you actually interacting with them in a way that they can fully understand your presentation and yourself to then give you that personalized advice? And the answer is no. Even if you're like, DMing someone or whatever, they're not gonna, unless you're like working with them and kind of contracting them to be your provider, they're not going to be able to really, really advise you. And so that's so important. And this comes up all the time. I was working with, and I don't want to get too into details, but like working with somebody just today who she's increasing her exercise and following a lot of sports nutrition influencers who are experts, well educated. I love their stuff. But one of those individuals is recommending a supplement, and she thought it made sense because she's plant-based, she's doing more strength training. So this supplement is recommended. And I don't disagree with that. But this individual person has a history of going through cancer treatment. And so actually that supplement in her situation may not be advised. It could carry some potential risk. So again, there's so many details, and let's focus on kind of staying in what is also like safe and recommended. So you have to vet the advice you get from influencers always, no matter what, even if they are qualified experts. And another big piece of advice that I would love to share is don't start that diet. I mean, however good it sounds, the transformative before and after pictures that are all over your phone, don't even start, because diet is such a negative four-letter word. We want to embark on a healthy eating path. And that is different than a diet in terms of, a detox, a fast. Now, listen, those things like fasting is something that for sure can be healthy and fit in to many people's part of their path, right? But like how often, what does that look like? There's a lot of details, right? So in general, it means like, don't all of a sudden, I'm going to be paleo or keto or whatever the latest thing is. You want, for me, it'd be, I want Stacy's healthy diet. You want Susie's healthy diet, Robert's healthy diet, whatever is personal to you. So out of the box diets don't work, right? If you even experience rapid weight loss, it's going to give you a false sense of results, because we all know the story, right? Weight loss is not linear. It's like a stock market. So if it's like dropping because you're losing water weight or you're starving yourself, it is going to go back up. And it's not what we want to keep repeating, especially as we get older, with hormonal changes, getting into middle age. It really messes with your metabolism. And so you just want to avoid that. Such a negative mindset. It's all about the can'ts. Can't do this, can't do that, misery, misery, misery. So that increases your stress, and hormones and chemicals in your body related to stress, that promotes aging and inflammation and weight loss resistance. So totally backfires. You might be missing nutrients that you need to fuel your metabolism and energy, and it can be very, very isolating, and your mood can be down in part because you're starving. So try to avoid that pull towards restriction and focus on healthier habits. So, and again, these are broad topics that you want to interpret for what that means to you. Plant-based foods, that can mean a lot of things. Are you adding beans into your salad? Are you going to have chickpea pasta? Are you going to make sure to have a fruit with your breakfast? So many options in there. Exercise, that's a big category. You could be walking, you could be doing a plank every morning, you could be going to your group fitness class. Meditation, you might use like an app, you might do 1 minute, 2 minutes, you might be walking, you might do it sitting, but that's definitely something to explore if you haven't already. Supplements, they can be healthy, they can be risky, they can be a waste of money. So, things like vitamin D, if you live in a lot of northern areas, or just ask your doctor to check your blood level. But there are many supplements that might be helpful. So it's definitely, if you're a dietitian, your doctor, somebody's recommended supplements to you for you, you want to get really good about taking them consistently. If people haven't, and you're kind of, self-prescribing, you might want to talk to your doctor, talk to your nutritionist, get somebody to look those over. And then social connections. Social connections are incredibly important for your health and wellness, for your microbiome, for your anti-inflammation, and really, really helpful. So make sure to consider social connections as part of this. So if you have a goal of more energy, losing weight, less inflammation, reducing alcohol is going to be helpful if you're drinking alcohol on a regular basis, well below the threshold for a substance use disorder. Cutting down on alcohol is absolutely going to help your goals. Now, many times that you have alcohol is in social connection. So think through that. Don't skip the social part. Just think of how you're going to navigate instead, or who you might want to spend time with that would respect your choices. There's some great mocktails out there. And not that you have to swear off drinking altogether, but I would encourage exploring that without sacrificing the social part. So as I mentioned, breakfast can be challenging. Not always. Sometimes lunch can be super challenging. Sometimes dinner challenging. Anything can be challenging. So if morning routines are something that you'd like to kind of dial into a little bit more in 2024, here's some ideas. And we have a ton of great recipes on this Be Well platform that you can utilize. And again, those are like for inspiration. So if it calls for blueberries and you like strawberries, awesome. If it calls for kiwi, you want pineapple, great. So feel free to edit, add, subtract, substitute within them. But these are some things that may help. Now, another idea, and some of these are savory breakfasts. A savory breakfast can often set the tone for the day in terms of healthy eating and reduce some of that blood sugar swing up and down, even if you're choosing healthy things. So some people eat overnight oats or oatmeal and put like nuts or seeds or nut butter, some fruit, ground flax or chia, and they're rocking it and they feel great. Other people, even though it has the protein, it has the fiber, it has the nutrients, they're hungry a little bit later. So maybe you opt for something savory. So it could be eggs and veggies and a piece of toast or potatoes, sweet potato, or maybe you're going to go for like grit with some vegetables and nutritional yeast, or maybe avocado toast like on whole grain bread and top that with some chia seeds. So, expand your horizons. If the term savory breakfast is like new or sounds a little weird, go ahead and Google that and look for recipes and just go for it. And then these are some other ideas. And in this like last one about protein, muffins and waffles, you can cut down on some flour with protein powder. You can also add plain Greek yogurt. It's going to make things more fluffy. So just keep in mind the protein powder is a dry ingredient. So you would cut down on the flour, even if it's whole wheat flour or any kind of whole grain. If it's yogurt that you're adding in, that's a wet ingredient. So you may need to adjust the amount of dry ingredients. You can add things that I tend to add into muffins and waffles would be rolled oats, the plain Greek yogurt, and protein powder. And and then of course, but I guess of course for nutritionists, either ground flaxseed or chia seeds. So like if I'm making banana bread, for example, I obviously put bananas in it, eggs, the other things that come with it. I'll put some chocolate chips in there for the kids and myself. But I like to add those other protein rich ingredients just because I know that that's going to help us have more energy. Now there's a lot of grab and go ideas, and these are a few. There are many, 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 many wonderful brands, so many. I just kind of wanted to show you things that you may not be aware of. Also in this kind of concept of meal delivery, the Daily Harvest, there's tons. I mean, I probably could name 4 or 5 new ones. There's some niche ones that are more for like lunch and dinner. There's one that's like a lentil based one. Oh, I just read another one yesterday. It'll come to me. So many cool, small brand food products coming out all the time that are really clean label and healthy. So you do not have to make everything from scratch. These are like pouches. So those are like smoothies. It's like a thicker, like an applesauce texture, but with protein and other like healthy ingredients. So again, these are not like, if you want to make your own smoothie, fabulous. If you want to make, eggs and veggies, great. If you're running out the door and you have time to make nothing, this is awesome. So morning routine can be really, really important. And as you get older, especially in middle age, the research shows that if you work out in the morning, it is optimal. If you can't, it is then going to be optimal to do it at another time because you need to do it. But mornings tend to make it a little bit better hormonally and then more likely to do it. But other things like mindset work, whether it's a gratitude journal, doing some yoga, meditation, can set the tone biochemically and kind of emotionally and mentally for your day to begin. You can do this also at the end of the day for these goals, especially as you're making a change and introducing new things. I mentioned the morning exercise. Even if it's just a little something, it is going to be more effective if you can do it. If not, or you just are like, Stacy, I am not a morning exercise person. I do great at noon or I do great at 4 o'clock. That's awesome. And again, that personalizes your goal, right? So you want to look at this for yourself. So steps all day long, all day long. So I'll say for most people, not everyone, for many people, it's probably a better term, 3 meals a day can be more effective towards your goals than small, frequent meals. There are tons of exceptions to that, but something to think about. You should be eating enough at breakfast to get to lunch enough at lunch to get to dinner early enough that you're not eating dinner at 8 o'clock at night and lunch at noon. You for sure need a snack. But ideally, we're inching that dinner up more to like a 6 o'clock time, or, somewhere around there. But walking and movement should be snacks all day, little bits here and there. That is shown to really facilitate a stronger resting metabolism. Strength training does that too, but the fidgeting, it can help you even. So if you're a natural fidgeter, you might have a faster metabolism, but steps all day long. So 100 here, 100 there, 1,000 here, 1,000 there. That is really going to be even more effective than saving it all and doing 2 massive walks on the weekend and like nothing Monday through Friday. Try to get it throughout the day. You can see many benefits that you see up here. So setting up for success, meal prep. We know we want to, we know it's healthy. Some people hate leftovers and this is not for you, but this is more in the planning phase. So ask yourself and commit and put it on your calendar, whether it's in your phone or it's written on the wall, like, on a calendar. How many days a week realistically will you cook? You might say 0. That's okay. You could say 1, you could say 4, whatever that number is. So commit to what is realistic, and you can always do more as you go. And then, okay, next question. When are you going to go shopping? Okay, how many days do you need takeout, or are you going to go out to eat? And like, where might you get that from? And what can you look at that might be healthier in terms of a restaurant or in terms of things off the menu? Or should you look at meal delivery? So there's meal kit where you cook. That may be an option. There's ready-made meals that you heat up. And there are a lot that are healthy, that are plant forward, that are high in omega-3, lots of good options there, and many new brands coming out all the time that are local or national. And then what's your backup plan? What recipes are you making? So putting the time and effort into this plan is key for it to be successful, right? And so like, what are the components that are going to go into your dish? And kind of thinking through that. And you want to make this all fun. So when you're doing meal prep, particularly when you're cooking and you're getting everything together, do you like to listen to music? Do you want to catch up on a favorite show? Do you want to watch a cooking show for inspiration? Do you want to try a new cuisine that's unfamiliar? Find a good recipe with not too many ingredients, things that are available at your store, and try it. See what everybody thinks. It can be really, really fun and interesting, new flavors, new textures, and get your family or others in your living space, maybe roommates, get them involved. You might want to gift yourself new containers or a new bag that you can carry your food with you. So really get into the meal prep, and also acknowledge that you may not do it every single day, and like that might be your goal, just to do it a little bit. So these are some ideas that can work well for meal prep, like sheet pan meals like you see here. There's so many. If you Google that, see, there's a lot you can Google. Googling recipes is fantastic. So sheet pan recipes, chilies, stews, and soups, veggie burgers tend to freeze very well. Kind of meatballs of any kind of meat or non-meat, but you can get lots of veggies in there, like sauteing them makes it a lot better. So if you saute down, peppers and onions and garlic and all kinds of vegetables, and then put that into the mix of, ground beef, ground turkey, that really is something that can add a lot of flavor. The texture then isn't so stark, like a raw onion cooking in the meatball. A sauteed one's going to match the texture better. And again, it's going to obviously infuse a lot more nutrients. You can buy already cooked frozen grains that you can then use in your meal prep, or you can get like a little rice cooker, and then kind of having like healthy things on backup. So other things to think about as you consider these goals, gut health can be a big goal. So these are some foods that can support gut health. Now, if you have GI problems like gas and bloating, you might be like, Stacy, how are you even suggesting beans or onions and garlic? So everybody's different. So if you're seeing that a lot of these items light up your symptoms, I would strongly encourage you to work with a dietitian, because you do want to then customize your diet. But many of these foods have what are called prebiotic fibers that will feed the healthy bacteria already living in your gut, or like yogurt or sauerkraut, kimchi, other pickled things that are fermented. Those will give you probiotics, new healthy bacteria. And again, you can eat, there's more foods that, aren't on here that fall into this category. And immune supporting foods, so cruciferous vegetables help support your liver. So like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, radishes, watercress, kale, arugula. I think I said Brussels sprouts and cabbage. So that whole family. Pigments, anything with a bright color is going to give your body a lot of anti-inflammatory, immune supporting compounds. Cooked versus raw, you get more vitamin C when foods, vegetables, and fruits are raw. You get more certain carotenoids or iron, vitamin K when they're cooked. And a lot of foods have vitamin C besides oranges. So tomatoes, strawberries, cauliflower, bell peppers, kiwi, broccoli. I mentioned those carotenoids, those winter vegetables, all those like orange winter squash, the orange vegetables and fruits, but really in the veggies, those carotenoids are very healthy for your lungs. So for upper respiratory system wellness during all the cold, flu, pneumonia, bronchitis, COVID, all the things, those carotenoids can be very supportive to lung health. And then healthy fats help you absorb many of these nutrients. So whether you're adding olive oil, avocado can be helpful. Use avocado oil for higher temperatures. Use olive oil under 350. Those are your two main oils. Hydration. This is a full-on behavioral change. It's not something like I want to, you just got to like do it. So you can put rubber bands on your water bottle, take one off every time you finish it, try to get through 4 in a day or whatever your goal is. Set reminders on your phone. You can see I've got my water right here. So really try to use these behavioral strategies to help you increase your hydration. So, and again, one more time to remind you, right? So let's say the hydration part, because that is a key for metabolism. Specific. I will drink 64 ounces of water a day. That's also measurable. It's specific and measurable because you can measure it. How many of these cups do I need? Or, how many of my water bottle? Attainable. Yeah, I think that's attainable for me. You might be at 30 ounces a day now. And so 64 would not be attainable. You want to go to like 40, 50, go bring yourself up slowly, right? Especially if you're like, I'm running to the bathroom all the time, or, I'm waking up in the middle of the night, you're going to gradually get yourself there. Relevant. So is it meaningful? That's another way of thinking about the R. So like in terms of, metabolism, skin, right? Hydration is really important. So I don't want dry skin this winter. It's very relevant to me to drink more water. Or I get just tired or brain foggy. I know that's connected to hydration. So it is very relevant for me to keep me really sharp, right? So, but you got to think, what's the relevance for you? If the relevance of drinking more water is my nutritionist told me I should, it's truly not relevant to you. So you got to push your person that's making the recommendations. Why? Like the so what? Why should I care? How does this help me? What's this going to do for me? That is such an important question. And until you get the answer, you have to keep poking and keep asking. Same thing with like a doctor, right? If they're like, "Oh, you just should do this," like you gotta get something better than that to make it really happen. And so you need to think about for yourself. Don't pick a goal because your friend is on Instagram or TikTok. Like it has to be relevant to you. And then time is another way of thinking about this. Like in what time frame do you want to achieve this, right? So I want to be drinking 64 ounces of water consistently by the end of the month. I want to be walking 7,000 steps a day by the end of the year every day. Whatever the time frame may be, but give yourself, generally it's better to keep the time frame shorter so you can reach that, and then you set another one and another one and another one. So like more of those intermittent points of time versus like I want to lose 30 pounds in a year. Okay, but like let's break that down into, again, more achievable bite-sized pieces. Another important thing in your health and wellness journey is setting boundaries. So pull the people in that lift you up, that support you in your goals, help you get there, feeling better. Put some boundaries up for the people that make it more stressful and more challenging. It is perfectly okay to ask for what you need and to set limits. So I would challenge you to do that, because if you don't, it's going to make it harder to follow your goals, because you're always running around chasing, pleasing somebody else. It's perfectly fair to set boundaries as long as you tell people in a kind way. Then they will hopefully honor that. And if not, that's okay. It's not about you, it's about them. And you need to kind of go on your path. So these are some example recipes. These are going to be in the slides, so feel free to take a look. As I mentioned, there's just so many on the Be Well platform at this point that are incredible. So I want to thank you so much. And I hope that your 2024 starts off on such a wonderful foot. And I am very grateful and appreciative to have gotten to spend this time with you, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much.